They took the pre-shift exams. They call this report out to the surface, generally to the incoming foreman who records it in the mine inspection book. And the crews then on the two continuous miner units we know had stopped production. The one crew had gotten in the man trip vehicle and they were on their way out. They were out to what we call 66 crosscut, and that's when the explosion caught up to them. And that's where the two survivors, two people survived that explosion. The other members of the crew were killed. On the 22, was it Headgate or
22 Headgate?
On 22 Headgate, we know that the rescuers found most of the crew in the man trip, but the man trip had not yet departed the section. So we're confident that crew had stopped production as well. On the long wall, we're just not able to determine whether production had actually stopped yet or whether it was in the final stages.
Wherever we want to go, we want to give this gentleman a chance, then we'll come back to some of the others.
Ryan Sullivan from Bloomberg News. I'm wondering if this has changed your operating plans. Are there any plans for acquisitions or anything like that going forward?
Well, it's not changed our view of the coal market, the coal business as far as Massey looking at acquisitions and so forth, but it has added an element that we need to figure out what caused this explosion and greatly enhance the safety in regard to that. But until we know the causation, that's going to be difficult. But as far as the company, it will not change our strategy, if you will, about expanding the company.
I think, as you know, we had completed all the planning to acquire Cumberland, and that actually closed last Monday. So we're busily in the middle of integrating them into Massey's plans going forward.
You can go to the back now of either one of those three, and we'll knock them out.
Hi, I'm Erica Peterson from West Virginia Public Radio. My question's for Admiral Inman. I know you've been, I read some articles in Texas newspapers where you were quoted as saying that you think some of the problems surrounding this come from the fact that it's a non-union mine. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. I would describe most of the last 4 weeks as a sense of sadness. But on occasion, that sadness has been moved aside by anger. And that anger has been centered around the allegation that we traded off safety for profits. My curiosity caused me, where did that begin? Where did this big lie start? Well, it turns out the first person so you all can all find this by going and simply Googling. The first came from a plaintiff's lawyer. The second from the president of the AFL-CIO. The third from the president of AFL-CIO. The fourth use of it from the head of the United Mine Workers. And finally, sadly, from the President of the United States. In trying to find some way to come to give you hard data, because you like data, I asked, beyond the requirements for what you have to do to comply with federal and state law, how much money has Massey spent on safety above and beyond that requirement in the last 4 years, 05 through 09, 5 years? Just in the underground part of the operation, a little over 45 million. If you were driving for profits over safety, that would have been the first thing to go. So I simply refer you back, who made the statements, what motivated them to propose this big lie.
Stay in the back if you'd like and work our way toward the front.
Sean Klein, WVVA. Mr. Blankenship, you spoke with the families the week of the explosion. what was their original reaction to you showing up to their event over there?
Well, it was mixed. You know, some of the family members were, of course, extremely frustrated and very hurt and very emotional and very angry. All of that very understandable. But for the most part, the families were appreciative of my presence and senior management presence and of our transparency as to the seriousness of the situation. And I think for the 2-hour updates and for the comfort that we provided as best we could. So I would say that 90+% were pleased by the presence and the efforts we were making. And of course, the others were just overcome with emotion, and it was fully understandable how they might react in these circumstances. Let's finish on the back there.
Jim Crisula with CBS Radio. Stan, is it accurate for us to say, are you suggesting that changes mandated by MSHA made that mine less safe?
You know, I would not say that. As I said, that, you know, I just stated the facts of the case, and I guess if I'm going to generalize, I generalize that a complicated system is more difficult to administer properly than a simple system. And we disagreed. Our mining engineers disagreed with their engineers. MSHA has final say on the ventilation plan at a mine, and at one point, as I said, our engineers actually recommended shutting down the mine while they tried to finalize this, or shutting down the longwall, I should say, while they tried to finalize the negotiations with MSHA, and in the end they acquiesced and went with the system. I would not characterize it as being less safe at this point. We really don't know what happened again, and all the indicators are that at the start of the shift everything was okay, and it's just that you know, these are things we've come upon in trying to look at the situation as it developed through 2009. The longwall actually started up in early September in 2009, and through the date of the explosion. Our investigation's continuing. We're trying to get more facts.
Stan, if I may add quickly. The point we're trying to make here isn't whether changes in the ventilation system contributed or did not contribute. We don't even know for sure that ventilation had a factor in the explosion. What we're trying to document for you is that even when we didn't agree with the approach, we complied with what MSHA wanted. So there's been an emphasis in the media that would indicate we were doing all kinds of things to try to avoid complying. Even in something as difficult as how you go about ventilating a mine, we ultimately accepted and complied with what they wanted well in advance of the explosion.
Thank you. Either one of you. All right, I don't think you've had a chance, so I'll pick on you for now. I'm sorry.
Mannix Porterfield, Register Herald in Beckley. Mr. Blankenship, can you